Hello everybody, this is Tim here again, here with another movie review, this time for Fantastic Beasts 3. Now, I reviewed the other two Fantastic Beasts. In terms of this franchise, the first one I thought was a 3 out of 4, good solid movie. Nothing amazing, but good. The second one I thought was 2.5. It was alright. It's kind of a mixed type movie. This third one, I'll go ahead and say it. I'd give it a 3 out of 4. I thought it was good. I think this is probably the second best Fantastic Beasts film after the first one. I will say this: the first like two halves of the film are kind of just so to all right. There is some good sequences in the second half, like when Newt has to like go rescue his friend and everything, and he's like, getting these creatures, little crab type things to like imitate him and stuff. Decent type sequence and everything. The new guy, Mads Mikkelsen, is a really good actor. He was great in the Hannibal show, which got canceled way too early. He's a good actor. He does a great job filling in for Johnny Depp, but he's not as interesting to watch as the Johnny Depp version of Grindelwald, who was much more theatrical and over the top. When you hire Johnny Depp, you're going to get much more of a goth, like over the top type character, who's just more interesting to watch because he's so much more flamboyant. That's just how Johnny Depp is. This Mads Mikkelsen version of Grindelwald is much more low key and much more like dark and cold and has much more of like a vicious feel to him. He does a great job though, but it is a complete like 180 from what we were getting with Johnny Depp. But he works in the context of this movie. Jude Law as Dumbledore is like the best part of these films. He's great here. Truthfully, the problem with these Fantastic Beasts films and why they've been getting like mixed reactions from fans and critics is simply for the same thing that was wrong with the Hobbit films. They took like a simple idea that should have been like two movies at most, and they've stretched it out to three so far, and you can just feel the story getting so thin with each film. The second one was desperately trying to set up for more and more sequels. And with this one, they make the right decision where they pretty much wrap the whole story up. Grindelwald still gets away at the end, but Dumbledore's like, yeah, I'll catch him. But all the other story points are completely wrapped up. So truthfully, they can just end here. And I know there's been talk about how they want to do more Harry Potter films or more films set in the Harry Potter universe. I really don't think that means they're going to do more Fantastic Beasts flicks. I think that just means they're going to do more Harry Potter spin-offs. There's really nowhere left to go with this Fantastic Beasts storyline. Unless you want to do like maybe a Grindelwald and Dumbledore solo movie where it's just about him like trying to catch him or whatever, and it's not called Fantastic Beasts and it has like a totally different title. You could do that. I could see that working. But yeah, as far as the Fantastic Beasts storyline goes, it's completely wrapped up here. Dan Fogel's character is the second most likable character after Jude Law as Dumbledore, young Dumbledore. And like I said, all the story arcs are pretty much wrapped up here. Like the blonde-haired chick, Queenie or whatever, who's in love with Dan Fogel. She ends up betraying Grindelwald by the end, which you see it coming. And Ezra Miller, you also see coming him betraying Grindelwald by the end. That also happens. You get, for the most part, it's just kind of so okay to all right. By the time you get to the end, though, you got like this creature called the Chinchilla, which Grindelwald kills and slits his throat, which is pretty vicious. This is a much darker movie than those first two Fantastic Beasts films. It's more along the lines with like the darker Harry Potter films like Deathly Hallows and like Goblet of Fire. And he slits his throat and does like necromancy to like bring it back to life so it can like bow to him, and it's supposed to bow to the person who's supposedly pure of heart, who can be the leader of the wizarding world, which he wants to be, so he can basically control everything. It's like he's like a mad dictator. He doesn't really care about any kind of cause. He just wants to be in charge and just basically rule. It's pretty much a metaphor for Hitler, and that's pretty much what he wants to do. By the time you get to the end, there's another Chinchilla thing, and Dumbledore is like protecting it. And you got like this really cool action sequence where they all have like these alternate briefcase, like Dan Fogel's character and Newt does, and all that. Eddie Redmayne, I think, plays Newt. I think that's the actor's name. He does a good job here too. And the bad guys keep like chasing after him and trying to get all the cases and everything. And you got like this other you one thing I did not like is like the girl who is like the main love interest for Newt in the other two movies is like totally absent from here and only shows up at the end when Queenie and Dan Fogel are getting married, which it's cool that they brought that full circle, their romance. But she pretty much disappears for the whole movie until like the main last sequence when they're at the wedding. And they've been building up a romance between her and like the Newt guy for like, or hinting at it for like two films. And here she's just totally absent. And they pretty much hint that this new random black chick character, who's not a bad looking woman or anything, but they hint that like she's in like a gay romance with her, like she's suddenly turned into a lesbian or something, which they never really hinted at before, her sexuality wise. So it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It almost feels like it's kind of forced in to be like an FU more towards J.K. Rowling and her whole gay like transphobia or whatever, or transphobia comments. I don't know. I mean, it just feels weird. It doesn't feel earned. Like the black chick in the movie really overdoes her like English accent. She's always like to the point where it's almost like she's like cheerio, cheerio. Like they might as well have had her do that. She really overdoes the voice here. Overall, she's kind of okay, but she's really overplaying her accent in this movie. But yeah, by the end though, they're like hinting at a romance between her and the other chick who is like the love interest for Eddie Redmayne's character, and it's a Newt, and it just comes out of nowhere. And I mean, I get the idea of throwing a curveball to the audience, where it's like, well, you thought that these two were going to end up together, but surprise, they aren't. They don't. Which sometimes that can work, doing the unexpected. But at the same time, when you just throw in a random new character who hasn't been in here for 2 movies, and you're like, well, now these two suddenly fell in love off screen, it's like, it's just poor storytelling on an artistic level. It's just not very interesting to watch. But yeah, all in all, by the end, the fact they wrap everything up, the climax of this with the whole running with the alternate suitcases and everything, and the bad guys trying to figure out which one of them has the chinchilla creature or whatever. It's fun when you get to the end. Grindelwald manages to like barely get away, which could hint at like either another movie or a like spin-off movie with Dumbledore going after him, which is more likely and makes more sense to do that, like a solo Dumbledore flick. Um, Ezra Miller's character betrays Grindelwald as well, and he goes off with his father, who is like Dumbledore's brother, which is pretty cool by the end. You do see it coming. So they wrap up almost like every plot line in this film because the Fantastic Beasts franchise has been pretty much dwindling in terms of quality, or it's been mixed in terms of quality, and it's been dwindling in terms of box office, especially now with the loss of Johnny Depp and all the controversy around that. Which I will say, losing Johnny Depp was stupid, and I did not pay to see this film because of that. I watched it for free, and I wouldn't have paid to see it because of what they did with Johnny Depp in this, which is just pretty shameful. They should have fired Amber Heard from Aquaman as well completely if they were going to truly be fair as a studio. But yeah, overall, because it wraps everything up by the end and the climax and the third act action is so good, I can give this a 3 out of 4. It's a good movie. I would say for the Fantastic Beasts franchise, it's a good movie. I would say see it at a matinee on a weekend when it's cheaper. It's worth seeing it for that, but only if you're a fan. But yeah, none of these three Fantastic Beasts movies have even come close to the highest quality, the best Harry Potter flicks. And that's just because they just feel stretched out. This should have just been easily 2 flicks, easily. They could have stuffed the majority of all of this story into 2 movies. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.